And welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus on this terrific Tuesday. 1:07 in the afternoon. It's a beautiful day outside. I mean, for this time of the year, you tell somebody in Arizona or Florida that, they'd be looking at you laughing. But temperatures in the 40s outside. A little breezy, but we've got some sunshine and melting away some of that snow before more is just around the corner. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki, along with our Ag Director Bridgette Readel, and we're kind of spoiled today, I'd say.
Well, the car washes are in full swing.
Oh, yeah.
Streets are melting off. A lot of folks are doing some cleaning. I mentioned to you I was going to take the blade out and clean the driveway and was told to step away from the tractor. I'll be taken care of separately. I'm not going to be one doing it. But it's a nice little reprieve. I'm curious, though, you've talked about freezing rain. Look, I got to go to Sioux Falls after this and get back tomorrow. You're what's
fine.
my timeline?
You're fine. You're fine. You're
Okay.
fine. Thursday is the problem day. That's when we're going to see things start to go downhill. But for the rest of today, it's looking pretty darn nice out there with temperatures in the 40s. Now, we do have a cold front just out to our west. That will be pressing through late afternoon, and we'll see temperatures start to fall off. But all in all, not a bad day out there with south winds. Those will switch to the northwest as we head towards evening, and we'll eventually bottom out in the teens overnight. And then winds turn back to the south quickly tomorrow. That will help warm us up into the mid to upper 30s. And we'll see rain showers come into the area by tomorrow evening into early tomorrow night. Then we'll see a break in the action. And then Saturday morning, how about Thursday morning? I'm jumping ahead here. Thursday morning, we'll see snow push in from the north and west as a strong clipper system rides to our north. As it does, we're going to see very windy conditions across the area develop as we head into Thursday morning after about 6, 7 in the morning. And that's going to be accompanied by snow. Now, the far northern valley into northwest Minnesota, those areas likely to experience blizzard conditions on Thursday morning through early afternoon. Will we experience those here in the FM area? Probably not. It will be close, though. It depends on how much snow we get. Because the snow we've got on the ground now, this will be crusted over, but we're expecting 40 to 50 mile an hour winds on Thursday morning. So that could lead to extremely reduced visibility if we get a little more than an inch of snow. Right now, it looks like about an inch, inch and a half is possible, but not much more than that. And again, a little bit more along and north of that Highway 2 corridor. So if you have any travel plans on Thursday, you might want to alter those and wait until either tomorrow or Friday. Friday, we'll still see a little light snow push into the area, but nothing that bad. And then the weekend looks pretty calm but cold. So Thursday, again, from about 6 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon, we could experience some pretty nasty conditions around here. Not a lot of snow, but again, when you got 40 to 50 mile an hour winds, Bridgette, we don't need a lot of snow to kind of cause a headache around here.
Even this morning, overnight we heard a lot of wind. And this morning, roads were certainly wet, but there were still some frosty spots as well.
Oh, yeah.
Especially on East-West Road.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if we can get a lot of this to dry off, and it's going to be tough on the streets, right? We've got snow melting down into the streets, but highways, if we could get those to dry off, that will help. Depends what we get Thursday, how roads will look Friday. Friday, I'm headed to Carrington, so everybody in Foster County, buckle down. It's going to get rough over there, I'm sure. So, yeah, we'll just wait and see what it does really set up for us.
Yeah,
hopefully not much.
It doesn't look like much. Like I said, an inch. Now, the northern valley, northwest Minnesota, stretching out, let's say from Minot through, Grand Forks and over towards Thief River, those areas could pick up about 2 to 4.
Okay.
That's why those areas are expecting near blizzard conditions.
Yeah, and again, that wind is going to impact them more than anything.
Yeah, no doubt.
Going south, it is certainly clearing up nicely. I mean, it's significantly warmer down there, and it'll probably stay above freezing overnight.
Yeah. You going south, you're going to be fine. You're gonna be fine.
I'm not going to get too terribly worried about those folks. But I because I'm headed there, I'm hopefully it's all going to be fine. Really, it'll be okay, you guys.
It'll be all right.
Except for Summit, South Dakota, the likelihood that is a tropical storm or hurricane is not going to be surprising. The change in elevation is massive.
Oh, yeah.
And what it does to weather in that area is just wild.
And you're heading down?
Oh, yeah.
Are you heading down to Summit? Or you're
Well, I
just
got to
going
drive through Summit, to
Okay.
Sioux Falls.
I gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I got to leave later this afternoon after another meeting. We will see how it goes.
Well, you'll be fighting a little bit of wind, but nothing too bad. Nothing you haven't been through
yeah,
before.
but it's not a southerly wind.
It is now, but
it's switched.
By
Okay.
the time you leave,
It'll die down.
Yeah, it'll die down and switch to the northwest.
Aerodynamic.
You're
Nobody
good.
will notice anyway.
You're good.
That's exactly right. So for those who are on the road and you care to call us here at the Coral Laundromat Studio, you can do so on the JLA Insurance phone line. That number is 701-293-9000. And if you don't want to have to sort through your crop insurance questions alone, you don't have to. Nate Thorsrud over at JLA Insurance will help you with that because he's a farmer too. Lighthouse Commodities can make sure that you can see us today. You're watching on Facebook, YouTube, as well as Acres TV, and you can find us there, WDAY, Weather and Ag in Focus. And emails are always welcome through the Superior Grain Equipment inbox. That's Weather and Ag in Focus. I'm ag at flagfamily.com. Dean is weather at Flag Family. And if you're curious about some grain bin storage for the coming year, go to superiorbins.com. So those are all the ways to see us and find us, and much more to come. I did... because I found this so blessed funny last night. Like, I literally laughed hysterically for quite some time. So one side of our family is very much into doing white elephant gifts. So for those of you who are busy running around shopping your favorite dollar store, antique stores, whatever, looking for the, can't live without grandma's potato masher to be giving away. One family made a video that they posted that one of the white elephant gifts contained a rotisserie chicken. And that side of the family has like 4 college students in it, but we're going to be at a relative's who has 3 dogs and a cat. And I don't think anybody will smell a rotisserie chicken if I carry it in a Christmas gift bag because of the cooking food. But the dogs and the cats going to be tough to keep out from under the tree. So yes, for those of you who are looking for your suggestion for the white elephant gift, a rotisserie chicken comes to mind. Why not?
That's a little different.
I think it'd be hilarious. I have no doubt that sucker is going to get passed around. That would be fun.
I love it.
All right, so let's see if anybody gets the gumption to do that. The holiday shoppers looking for a gardener gift. Well, for the gardeners in your lives, this one isn't quite there yet, but it should be coming soon. And if you're familiar with a mulching film, like laying a plastic sheet over the soil to protect seedlings and promote crop growth, there's something new and different versus what's been traditional plastic materials. The films that we've been using can release those microplastics, and they don't have any insect repelling power. But there is a new alternative biodegradable mulching film that also uses citronella oil in its composition. Therefore, it will prevent some pests from being a problem in those gardens and or large commercial gardens. So the film retains moisture in the soil and prevents weed growth. That's the whole point of using them. Now, using these films that have the varying concentration of citronella oil found that the oil did not reduce the film's strength or flexibility, but it also did not retain moisture as well as a traditional plastic film. It's considered more porous. It did, however, keep away some of those pests. So the team that was studying this found that after 7 days, pests laid about 6 eggs on plastic that had the citronella, and that was far fewer than the 30-plus eggs on traditional plastics. So I'm not sure that you can go to your favorite garden center and pick this up yet, but it's a possibility. And I think for gardeners, that is something to look forward to in the future. And we all want to look for better and more positive ways to use things in our garden that are helpful, prevent the pests, etc. But it may be hard to disguise that roll under the tree. Depends how you want to wrap it. Nonetheless,
That's a good idea.
it could be a great idea. So we'll see what that looks like. But I would venture, I guess, might keep some of your mosquito population down as well while you're out there as a gardener. I would look for that. That would make me very happy. We're going to be joined today by our guest. Hopefully he'll be connecting fairly soon. Rich Sanders is joining us. He is the Polk County, Minnesota engineer. We're going to talk about roads, bridges, farm equipment, roadways. Maybe you have some questions about road tax and how that's paid, fuel taxes, etc. We'll try to answer some of those with Rich today. And again, if you have those questions, you can reach out to us through email, phone lines, and more. We look forward to you joining us after the livestock market from the American Ag Network. we get an opportunity to talk about roads, bridges, etc. And Dean asked me off air, he's like, how does this tie to farming? Because I'm sure for most people, they just, that maybe
Right.
wouldn't be something they think of right off the top of their head. So I have an opportunity for Rich Sanders. He is Polk County engineer in Minnesota. Rich is going to join us to help us answer some of those questions. Rich, how's things over in Polk County today?
Warm. Don't you like this kind of winter weather?
For a change, right?
We do.
Yeah, something other than 20 below, 30-mile-an-hour winds and snow.
So, as a county engineer, are roads your primary focus? Are there other things that fall into your jurisdiction? Give us a little background on what you do.
So in Polk County, yes, I'm in charge of roads and bridges on the county road system, and we assist the townships with their um, township bridges as well. I also have 900 miles of legal county ditch that we oversee, and we have two parks, one in the Mentor Maple Lake area and one in the Foston Cross Lake area. So campgrounds that we own and maintain as well.
So, when it comes to all of those roads, you've got jurisdiction over county. What about state? Do you keep an eye on those as well and what's been happening there?
Well, we work hand in hand with MnDOT, but MnDOT owns all the state roads, whether it's a U.S. Trunk Highway 2 or Minnesota Trunk Highway 102 and 32. That's under their jurisdiction, their funding. They own and maintain those. We get a lot of calls on them on whether they're open or not during the winter, or
I bet.
calls complaining about snow and everything else. But no, those are MnDOT's roads. They take care of them.
Okay.
I have 955 miles of county operated roads. 807 get paid for through the state gas tax, tab fees, and motor vehicle sales tax, and the other 153 get paid for through property taxes.
Okay, that makes sense because when it comes to how do farmers contribute to that, they're doing it through property tax, most definitely, maybe more so than what is happening through a fuel tax. Would that be correct?
Well, I'm not 100% positive
That's fair.
on what they pay in fuel taxes, but they are tax exempt ag trucks or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So they may be paying less than what the general public pays at the gas pump, but diesel's typically higher than
Yeah.
regular fuel. And so they're paying their share through the federal and state or fuel tax. And then, of course, they own a lot of property within the county, and so they pay their fair share of the property tax as well.
Absolutely. And with those roads, one of the, you and I talked about a number of things. Well, actually, I should say one of your county engineer friends and I were talking about a number of things in a email as we were talking about, bringing this discussion onto the radio. And one of the things was overweights, because the time in which many of your roads was built, would you say that a lot of that paving was done probably 30 to 40 years ago?
Oh, definitely. 70s, early 80s, a
Mhm.
lot of our roads were originally paved, some with bituminous. Some were actually designed for concrete at that time, because concrete back then and the aggregate sources to make concrete were readily available.
Sure.
Nowadays, up in this area, concrete's a lot more expensive
Yeah.
to construct, and so you see a lot of the counties using bituminous on their roadways.
Hmm.
And then also, we can't pave every mile of county road.
Sure.
Just doesn't make sense because, well, first of all, you can't afford to. It costs a little bit more to maintain, and there's just not the sources to be able to do that. So in Polk County, we've actually gone to stabilizing some of our gravel roads with a chemical called Base One, and our residents love that because now they have a gravel road they can drive on that's hard and not sloppy muddy during the spring.
Oh, believe me, I would say that's a wonderful situation.
Yeah.
And from the time that so many of those roads were paved, our equipment has changed. How are the roads holding up to that? Or are we at a point where we really need to make some reinforcements on the pavement in order to support the heavier traffic, whether it's farming, construction, etc.?
So, I mean, in Minnesota, we have one set of rules. In North Dakota, you have a separate set of rules. The first governing body on weights, of course, is the feds. They have their truck weight rules, and then the states can take those rules and adopt them and change them. So Minnesota truck weight rules are a little bit different than North Dakota's. And if you think about it, back in the 80s, there was just a lot of tandem trucks, single axle trucks. Well, now you have semis. Now you have semis with 6 axles, 7 axles um, in a single unit. And the biggest thing with roads is axle weights.
Okay.
And so, what the state of Minnesota has done is worked with Upper Great Plains Institute at NDSU to begin with, and now the University of Minnesota's LTAP group, secondly, to create a truck weight calculator that allows an individual that owns a truck to go on there, measure their axle spacings, put in their tire types, and it'll give them what their um, legal gross vehicle weight is for that vehicle.
Okay.
So if it's a 5 axle semi at the right length, you can haul 80,000 pounds. While you add the 6th axle, MnDOT and the counties have the ability to permit higher weights with 6 axles up to 90,000 pounds, and then 7 axles up to 97,000 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
So if a farmer or bituminous contractor or aggregate contractor wants to haul larger loads than 80,000, they can go to the county and get a permit if the county is willing to sell those types of permits, and also get it through the state. So what that does is it cuts down on the axle weights on that truck because you're adding an axle for just a little bit more weight. And so it does less damage strength wise to your pavement. Some are going to argue that an extra axle in the turning causes different issues.
Sure.
Not so worried about that type of thing, but to cut down on those axle weights means that your pavement can hold that weight and hold it for a longer period of time. So instead of 20 years or 15 years every time you have to overlay it, now maybe it's stretching it out to 20. And so just one way to help keep those heavy weights off our paved roads. MnDOT sells a 10% overweight permit during the harvest.
Mm-hmm.
Polk County does not approve that permit and doesn't allow that permit to be hauled on our county roads, because if you think about it, adding an extra 10% to each axle causes that much more destruction to the pavements that truck is hauling over. So an 88,000 pound load, it isn't linear 1-to-1. It's more hyperbolic. So the more weight you put on that 5-axle semi, the more damage it's doing in one instance.
And Rich, we've got a question from one of our listeners via email asking if there's been damage done to either the shoulder or one of the county bridges. Does the county do the repair? And if so, does the county end up having to pay for that, or is the farmer that did the damage responsible for payment?
Well, in Polk County, we don't have a policy that allows us to bill the farmers for any damage. So like during beet harvest, you get mud on the roads and we're out there scraping mud off the roads. We don't have the ability to take that cost and put it back onto the landowner.
Right.
Okay. So basically what we do in Polk County is once beet harvest starts, we have our snowplow trucks driving their plow routes for the winter, getting used to driving that route again and scraping mud. And they'll do it once or twice a day, depending on how much mud is out there. But we require that the landowners take care of scraping the mud off the roads as well when we're not there. And so that's our policy in Polk. Other counties have different policies. Um, I think there is the ability to charge them back for damage. We just have never done it in Polk.
Okay.
Okay.
Very fair. There's a couple more questions for us to talk about, and we will do that, Rich, right after we pick up the news. But when we return, just want to talk a little bit about even some of the bridges and probably a reminder to those of us who are driving some of that heavy equipment. Did we make sure that the bridge is still good if it's a John Deere 9X or 9RX, or if it's a 7720, because the weights have changed, the loads have changed, and is that a good idea? So we'll talk about that some more when we return. feel free to reach out to us. You can do that on the JLA Insurance phone line, 701-293-9000. Emails can come in ag or weather at flagfamily.com, powered by Superior Grain Equipment. And Lighthouse Commodities makes sure you can see us on YouTube, Facebook, and Acres TV. Those live streams are under WDAY, Weather and Ag in Focus. Our guest today is Rich Saunders. He is the Polk County, Minnesota engineer. And we've been talking about roadways, weights, farm equipment. So can we talk a little bit about bridges? Because I would bet some of those bridges have been in existence longer than the roadways in some cases. So weights have changed on our equipment. Where are we at in bridges across the state of Minnesota, or even just in Polk County? Are we up to snuff? What needs to be done?
Well, Polk County, I can't speak for the rest of the state. I know MnDOT and the legislature has done a really good job of making bridges a focus and giving us money to replace bridges, whether it's Polk County or the townships. And so in Polk County, we've replaced a lot of bridges over the 34 years that I've been here. And a lot of those bridges that were built back in the teens and 20s, 30s, and 40s and 50s are all gone, with new bridges built in the 90s, 2000s, and now 2020s. If you think about bridges, you have those that are older, maybe have some deterioration on them, and when they get to a certain point, they become posted. And so in Minnesota, MnDOT, once it gets to a certain point, we have to either have contact MnDOT and they send a consultant out to review the bridge and give us a new load posting for that bridge to be posted, or we hire a consultant to do the same thing. And that's how we went from for a bridge not being posted to posted. Okay. So when the timber haulers bill and the commercial aggregate haulers bill and the agricultural bills for the 90,000 on 6 and 97,000 pounds on 7 axles became law, then MnDOT had to come and review all our bridges for those weights on those types of trucks. And so you see a lot of bridges that are posted now at 48,000 on one, on the larger one, and stuff like that. And so we went through that whole process of updating our bridges at that time for those loads. If you think about a bridge, there's many different aspects to it, from design to construction to as it gets older and maintained. And so when it's originally designed, they look at what types of materials they're going to use to build that bridge. Is it a concrete beam bridge? Is it a steel beam bridge? Is it a concrete slab span? All these different types of bridges that we have based on span lengths and weights that type of material can hold. And so the consultant will run a fictitious load across that bridge to determine its operating load and operating, anyway, one of the loads, and and it will determine if you have a factor of safety of at least 1, then they'll use that type of material for that bridge. Then the second one is the other loading, the operating or the inventory loading is the one what the consultant does when designing. The operating is the one that it does thinking about the traffic that's going to go across that bridge. And so it'll use another fictitious truck that goes across that bridge and determine whether or not it's designed strong enough for the future loads that are going to go across it. And so every consultant does it. All the plans that are put together are submitted to the state with those. We look for a 1 on the inventory. We look for a factor of safety of 1.3 on the operating. And so, as you know, well, as you may or may not know, we just completed the bridge over the Red River between Polk County and Trail County, North Dakota,
Did see
at
that. Yes.
Climax and Buxton. And so its inventory was 1.13, its operating was 1.38. So those are the type of numbers you get when you're building and designing a new road or new
New
bridge.
bridges.
And so we look at all that. They look at all that different type of traffic. Yes, the bridges that were built back in the 70s under a totally different loading, um, they're the ones that are being posted because an H20 loading is different than the loading that they're using today to design bridges. And so a lot of the older bridges are now posted.
Hmm.
If it's posted at 9 ton, don't cross it at 10 ton because
Yes.
in North Dakota, you may end up paying for a bridge.
Hmm.
In Minnesota, up until a couple of years ago, you didn't have to pay for a bridge. Now you do
Uh-huh.
because the legislature said the farmers with their implements of husbandry are just as liable as a truck driver that's driving a semi over that bridge for the destruction of that bridge.
And weights
And
have
so
changed,
hopefully,
right?
yeah, yeah. And so hopefully people follow the signs and don't go, well, it's only one time across that bridge. I think I can make it. Because depending on how old that bridge is, you may or may not make it across that span.
I see a number of bridges that are field accesses across uh, um, drainage ditches, that type of thing. If I, as
Yep.
a farmer, have a concern and think that bridge has been there a long time and I don't know if it's ever been inspected recently or rated, would that just be a call to my county engineer and say, maybe we should talk about this?
Well, in Minnesota, yes.
Okay,
I don't know what the process would be in North Dakota.
that's fine.
Might be a totally different phone call.
Hmm.
But in Minnesota, like all the 900 miles of legal county ditch are under my jurisdiction. So, what I always tell the farmers is the county pays for replacing field and farm approaches across the legal county ditch. So that's our responsibility. If it's a township road across that legal ditch, then it's the township's responsibility. And so if they're looking at, which I don't think there are any actual bridges across the legal ditch right now, um, there's culverts across them. If they're deteriorating to the point where you think they need to be replaced, it's a simple call to our office. We send somebody out there to take a look at it. If yes, it's deteriorating, we get the county board to approve it and we replace that approach.
I appreciate you being willing to answer some of those questions because I think it is an important reminder to everybody on the roadway that there's a reason we have weight limits and road
Yeah,
restrictions at certain times of the year because damaging those roads is costly to all of us. And we have seen changes in farm equipment that we don't always think about. But I do
right.
know it's a whole lot different versus what we were doing 30 years ago.
Well, you think about the infrastructure in the county. Um, with the 955 miles of roadway we have, it's over, what is it, over $75 million worth of assets. Well, that takes a lot of buildings to make up 75 million. And so you think of it, it's the most important costly thing that you have in your county is your roads.
Hmm.
And everybody that drives on those roads want them to be in good shape so that they can get from their home to work in a safe manner. And so, that brings into the safety aspect of Towards Zero Death in Minnesota and Vision Zero in North Dakota and trying to keep our roads as safe as possible. Well, if they're deteriorating because of heavy loads, cracking, potholes, and all this other stuff, then they're not as safe as what they were if they were in really good shape. And so it's just a juggling act,
Right.
and um, the worst time of the year for our roadways is the spring, from when they were frozen to when they're beginning to thaw out, because you get that layer of water underneath the bituminous, because the pavement heats up faster than gravel in the feet and the ditches,
Sure.
and it just weakens the roads completely to where they can hardly um, carry the loads that they're designed for. And so that's why we load post them during the spring. The
Well,
rest of the time, when the subgrade is dry, then they can haul and carry a legal weight.
when it's dry, it makes a difference. Rich,
Yep.
thank you so much for joining us. We've had a chance today to visit with Rich Sanders. He is the Polk County, Minnesota engineer. And thanks for taking the time to just share some knowledge. We appreciate it.
No problem. You guys have a great day and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Merry
Thanks, Rich.
Christmas.
Same to you. Same to you. When we come back,
Okay.
we're going to go over what looks like another winter weather event heading our way, and some high winds along with it. More on that and a few ag topics when we come back. And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. 1:54 in the afternoon. A high wind warning has just been issued for the FM area. It basically stretches from Langdon down to Lisbon and east of there to the river. So we've got some pretty strong winds approaching the area, and this goes until 6 o'clock this evening. And on line one, we've got Oscar. Oscar, what's going on today?
Hi, kids. Anyway, this deal with that guy from Polk County, very interesting, but I could talk to you for an hour on the federal tax, state tax, gas tax, or diesel. Okay, everybody pays the federal tax. All agriculture farmers do not pay a state tax. I know in Minnesota and North Dakota they don't. But anyway, after 6.25 million miles of trucking across this USA, the states with the lowest fuel taxes goes 100% towards the roads. Our high tax here in Minnesota goes into the general fund, so they can use it for everything but the roads. And I can prove this over and over again, that money is wasted for many projects that have nothing to do with the highways. But I could go on for hours with you with this and really explain it. I hope I'm doing a good enough job.
I think you are, Oscar. Much appreciated. And you're right. Every state differs just a little bit as to how, those dollars flow through the coffers, et cetera. I would venture a guess that this is probably a topic that Jay handles in the 2 o'clock hour pretty readily. But I do understand exactly what you're saying, that depending on the state that you're in, how that money is appropriated, it may not always go to the spot that you thought it was going to. So there's probably some differences certainly within that. And how many miles did you say of safe trucking? Was it 1.5 million that you have?
I did 6.25 million miles.
6.25.
Man.
Never had a chargeable accident.
That's excellent.
That's awesome.
Yeah, especially because deer do not count as chargeable accident, right? If they're just running out in front of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't
But
fix
anyway,
that.
I only did this with only 3 trucks, Bridgette.
So actually, your turnaround and resale on those trucks wasn't too bad then.
No, not the last one, the one before. I put 3,640,000 miles on it.
Freight shaker?
No.
Just thought I'd ask, Oscar.
But I also own the land speed record across the state of North Dakota too.
What year?
Oh, that was back in the late 80s.
So we were still doing 55 as the posted speed limit, right?
Yeah, I did it in 3 hours and 10 minutes.
Overnight, pulling a pup?
No, middle of the day.
Whoa.
But anyway, with the state tax, 2 states in general, Georgia and Tennessee, have very, very low fuel tax, state tax. And them 2 states have the best roads in the country. Because
That's good to
100%
know.
of that money goes towards the roads.
Excellent.
Well, Oscar, thank you for calling in. We appreciate it. Have yourself a wonderful Christmas.
Someday you should come up there. We'd sit down and spend an hour doing this.
There you go. There you go, Oscar. All right, well, have a great day, Oscar, and let's recap the weather real quick because we do have a high wind warning that just went into effect for the Fargo area, and actually it extends from, let's say roughly around Langdon, southward to Lisbon, and east of there to the river, as we've got a cold front that has pressed through the area. Behind that, we've got west winds that are gusting over 40. I wouldn't be surprised to see a few 50-mile-an-hour gusts, and this isn't the only wind event we're going to see. I'm seeing stronger winds than this as we head into Thursday morning into early afternoon. We could have wind gusts 50 to 55, and we'll see snow falling with that as well. Again, that storm is still off the Pacific coast, and it's going to race up into southern Canada and then dive into our area as we head into Thursday. So doesn't look like a lot of snow for us, but again, even if we saw an inch or so with 50-mile-an-hour winds, travel is going to be very, very difficult as we head into Thursday. So for Bridgette, myself, I want to thank everybody for joining us today on Weather and Ag in Focus. Don't go anywhere. The Jay Thomas Show, it's coming up next.